everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Tech This Week. My name is Abdullah. Hope all of you are keeping well. So yes, the world speaks about AI on a regular basis, and I have to admit that so have we. We've spoken all around the impact of AI, the impact of technology as a whole on several aspects of life across industries, be it consumers, be it business. But I just thought today I'll touch upon an area that we probably haven't touched upon as yet, and that is defense. Right? I'm not saying or suggesting that we are an expert of that, but I just thought I'll probably broach an area, on and I start with a question. With the advent of technology, especially AI, do we see a potential at play in reducing defense budgets globally? Uh, because the reason why I thought of having this podcast is because, if you see globally, you know, defense budgets, are make up for a substantial part of national building, right? And competing with other priorities like healthcare, infrastructure, so on and so forth. And this is systematic, literally across most developed or developing nations, right? So the question that we will try to answer today is it feasible to reduce defense costs without sacrificing national security and integrity? But to do that, I think it's important that I share some hard facts with you, to understand what is the current state of global defense spending. So obviously, United States tops the list. In fact, if we take 2023 data, they spent a staggering $916 billion, which is almost 40% of the global total. It is huge, right? And then there was China, which was a distant follower. It was the second position, which spends about $296 billion. Still a huge amount. In fact, India is not very low in this ranking. They are in the fourth. They're the fourth largest spender. We spend about $83.6 billion, in terms of budget spending. In fact, for the fiscal 2024-25, India allocated 12.9% of its national budgets to defense. It's the highest allocation across any ministry, by the way. Just this is, and when you put it across numbers, it just rings a bell. And I hope you understand where we're coming from, right? So the question essentially is: imagine if countries around the world could reduce their defense budgets even by 10% and channel that, money into, say, areas like healthcare, education, infrastructure. It would be huge. I mean, like I said, a 10%, though may seem small, but purely because the quantum of money that is put into defense, it would be a fairly big amount, trust me. So, like I said, we come back to the same question: can these budgets be reduced without risking national security? I think for years we've witnessed defense budgets grow as nations grapple with rising geopolitical tension. So I don't think nations are to be blamed for this, because with each and every passing year, unfortunately, there has been the rise of geopolitical tension, and we see this systematically across the globe, right? So in an increasingly hostile world, it might seem almost impossible to reduce defense spending without compromising security. And this is what even I felt when I started to attempt this podcast. But then I asked myself, is it that we're looking at the problem the wrong way? Because, and I'll tell you what I mean here. Because a large part of why cutting these budgets feels so challenging is that most countries are by design often over-prepared. And again, you can't blame them. But defense budgets are structured around preparing for all possible threats, right? It's not that you're only prepared for one typical threat landscape. You should be prepared for everything. But rarely do they leverage real-time, dynamic intelligence to define spending in a way that aligns with actual risks. And that's where technology offers an opportunity to rethink the approach. In fact, AI specifically brings a completely new layer of efficiency. In fact, AI-led technologies are already proving to be an effective source uh, to manage defense applications. And I'll give you a couple of examples. So we've seen how AI and emerging technologies help in predictive maintenance in the automotive sector. Very similarly, by enabling predictive maintenance, as seen in the US at least, AI algorithms monitor when equipment parts need to be replaced. This reduces downtime and eliminates unnecessary repairs, which translates into significant budget savings. One small example. Then you have autonomous systems, right? As we probably know, I mean, Israel has always been the forefront on tech defense investments. So in Israel, for instance, you have AI-powered drones which conduct constant monitoring with minimal human oversight. So by leveraging AI, countries can lower both personnel and logistic costs while maintaining high levels of surveillance. Right? You're not compromising on the surveillance. And then you have cyber defense. Because when you talk about defense, cybersecurity is of paramount importance in today's connected world. So AI-driven cybersecurity tools, for instance, in Europe, detect and respond to threats even before they escalate, protecting national assets and saving on potential costs from breaches. Can we look at AI as a global defense strategy? And I'll explain this. Imagine if AI took a role of a global defense strategist. And it's a completely fresh perspective. Rather than focusing on individual national budgets, AI probably could facilitate a collaborative and intelligence sharing approach, maybe among allied countries. The countries spend heavily on, say, redundant, isolated defense preparations, often over preparing for threats that may never materialize. Right? And I told you that is a very important element. Keep that in mind. Is countries often spend a lot in over preparing for it. But with AI, there's this potential to change this paradigm. Imagine a network where friendly nations share real-time threat assessments and budget data. AI could analyze this data, allowing these countries to collectively predict, allocate, and distribute resources in a way that minimizes redundancy while maximum impact. So actually, this kind of intelligence-driven collaborative defense network would shift defense spending from a model of over-preparation to one which is more precise and predictive readiness. And I think, so you're not just actually looking at cost containment, you're actually making it much more efficient and much more prudent the way we look at defense. So for example, rather than each country building up similar levels of surveillance, AI could guide resource pooling and, help targeting monitor regions, making defense both smarter and more cost effective. So this not only optimizes costs, but also brings security in a way that's globally coordinated. So instead of isolated responsive threats, countries can actually act on shared knowledge, insight, allowing budgets to be redirected away from hypothetical threats to where they're truly needed. So, like I said, in the beginning, the question that we're trying to answer was, is it feasible to reduce costs without sacrificing national security, if you remember? May have a different answer that we've traditionally thought. By leveraging AI and technology as a collaborative defense strategy, I think it's possible to envision a future where defense budgets are not only reduced, but also optimized for a world that's both secure and intelligently prepared. Like I said, I'm no defense specialist, but I just thought of looking at it in a fresh perspective. Hope you like this podcast. Would love to hear from all of you, maybe some people who understand this space better than me. Looking forward to many more sessions. Have a great week ahead.